Good afternoon, or good morning, should I say. I would just like to introduce you to a very, very special guest today. Manchester-born, started his career with his parents' salon, worked for Andrew Collins, and headed south to his current location as artistic director for Trevor Sorbie's. Welcome to the show, Tom Connell.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming over.
No, my pleasure.
So you came over yesterday? Spent some time with family?
Yeah, yesterday morning, spent some time seeing my wife's family, and then here today.
You didn't have a late one last night, did you?
No. I watched that All-Ireland final and then I was straight to bed.
True professional.
Professional.
So listen, for our audience here today, I mean, I'm so excited to have you over, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Really, really excited. Listen, take us back and tell our viewers a little bit about, 16-year-old you, for when you first left school. Did you work in your parents' salon?
Yeah, so I started working in my dad's salon, and I'd gone into it and I was kind of doing it a little bit, but I wasn't too sure whether I was going to do it as a career. And then my dad, Trevor Sorbie, did a show in Liverpool, and my dad got me tickets to it. Or he got all his staff tickets, and he said, "I've got you an extra ticket." And he took me along, and I think he knew what he was doing, because I think he knew that I'd get me hooked. And I'd never seen that kind of creative show aspect of the industry. So after I watched Trevor on stage, I was pretty blown away. And that was the first point that I thought, I'm going to look into this in a bit more detail. And
Trevor back in the day was absolutely extraordinary, and he still is today. And he's had a remarkable career. I mean, to stay at that level for so long, it's like incredible. I mean, credit to all his staff as well. I mean, that comes with a huge amount of inspiration and education that goes with that.
Absolutely. He's his attention to detail is amazing, and he always says he's stayed quite young and current because he's surrounded himself with young current people. He's never been someone that's kind of stayed in his box, and he's always aware of what he doesn't know. So he isn't afraid of, like, say, new technology or Instagram, online stuff. He surrounds himself with people who knows about it, and he finds out about it. So he's kept that forward-thinking approach pretty much all his career.
Yeah, I mean, all the collections that you guys come out, we're going to get to that in a few moments anyway, have just been like so progressive, so current. I mean, I've seen so many shows as well, and it's very much like, it's taken hair to a whole new level, and it's so inspiring. Like, I mean, they're maybe not so commercial, but they like show hair is like, I mean, where do the ideas come from?
Well, the team obviously all go off and do their own personal projects, but we have a meeting approximately like once a month, and it's a roundtable discussion, and the reason that it is like that is there's no hierarchy in there. So whether it's myself as the art director or Trevor or the heads of colour, everyone's idea is equal. So the newest member on the most juniors team, their idea has as much weight as my idea or Trevor's idea. It's all on the strength of the work. So for instance, a show that we've got coming up in October, Salon Live, the finale of the show is actually going to be a guy off the younger team, just because he's got a colour idea which is blown me and Trevor away. I've never seen anything like it. And I've actually spoke to him this morning and told him the news. So he's been bumped up to be in the finale of the show.
I mean, what does that do to somebody? That's incredible, isn't it?
I think if you give them that feeling of like there's a possibility, and there isn't that, you don't want people to look at it and go, oh, well, it doesn't matter, I'll be 10 years before I get on that stage anyway. You want someone to have that feeling that if I work hard and come up with a great idea, I can go from here to here within a few weeks.
It almost becomes like a drug when those guys stand up there and then they get that level of, exposure. They always want to be there, and they'll always be striving towards.
And it has the opposite effect, where it makes the more established team members think, oh wow, there's people coming up behind me, so it gives them extra motivation. And even me as art director, it gives me motivation, because it's not a given that I'm going to be going up there.
Listen, just before we go on, go back to, I mean, when you did leave school and you took that plunge of working in the salon, were your parents a big inspiration to what you did?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, my mum's always kept me kind of focused and stopped me like losing my attention, and she's been great support. But obviously, like, in the hairdressing side of things, my dad, he's very, very focused on the industry, and he's really, really passionate. And I always say, like, when most dads were telling the kids about Maradona and Pele, my dad was telling me about Vidal Sassoon and Trevor Sorbie, so I was indoctrinated very young.
Oh, very good. Were they heavily involved with education? Did he give good grounding
He did, but he was involved in education, and he was more into kind of getting me fired up about the industry rather than teaching me techniques. He was very aware, young, that he said you need to get out of his salon and you need to go and work at a bigger place and get more influences and more experience. So he was very good at pushing me out. When I was like 17, he said you need to leave the salon.
Okay, and where did you go then?
I went to work for Andrew Collins in Manchester.
Manchester, okay. And what sort of, how long were you there actually, can I ask?
7 years or 6 years.
Okay, so a long time, yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I always think it was like my university, because I moved in with 3 guys that had all started their MVQ at the same time. So we moved into like some student accommodation, and we were training, shampooing in the day, working in the salon, and training in the evenings. And it was kind of like a real, like, it wasn't like a job, it was a lifestyle, if you know what I mean. And we were going out too much and partying probably a bit too much as well, but it kind of...
That's all part of it, I think.
It is, yeah, because it really gets you into that thing, because you get home, you're having beers, you're chatting about it, you're arguing about techniques, and for those probably 6 years, it was just 24/7 hairdressing, really.
I was actually fortunate enough to actually do the same as yourself. Actually, I moved over to Ireland and I did the same sort of thing. I lived with hairdressers, and we all sort of embodied that sort of culture, you know, going out all the time and just always talking about hair and things like that. So, and it was always like when you were training, it was like, you know, who's getting up onto the floor quickest.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like healthy competition, isn't it?
Yeah. It's good actually. Listen, tell us a little bit about when you started in Trevor Sorbie. So you applied for the job, you had to go through a...
Yeah, you have to go through a vardering process.
Okay.
So you have to do a trade test. If you pass that trade test, which is 5 models, then you get asked to come and train with us for 4 weeks. And then in that 4-week process, they polish up your work. And you have to go and find your own models as well, so you need 4 models every day, which is pretty heavy going. And then at the end of that process, you have a final test. And you have to present the final test to Trevor, which is 11 models, and now myself, I take the test with Trevor.
Which salon was that in? It was in London?
Covent Garden.
Covent Garden.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he goes through and looks at the balance, the shape, the suitability, the taste level of all your work.
Very good.
And he makes a decision based on what he sees that evening and whether you get the job. So it's a risk, because obviously you've left your other job and worked there, and you could still not pass your final test, but that's the only way we've found to keep the standards where we need to have them.
And you do that yourself now with other people?
Yeah, so myself and Trevor still take all the tests.
Okay.
I think Trevor's missed like 2 tests in 37 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. He's still heavily involved.
And he really, really, like, when you see them marking the tests, he pulls... If I miss something, he gets it, if you know what I mean. Any little balance or shape that isn't quite right. He's protecting his name, really.
My God. That's amazing, because I mean, even for the vardering again, you know, that structure. I mean, I think a lot of salon groups have tried to embody that now, with, you know, trying to trade test people and make sure. But I don't know whether they go to that level of commitment of 6 weeks. Did you say?
Yeah, 4. So it probably is 6 weeks in total with your trade test, but it's 4 weeks once you start. Once you pass your trade test,
you do your exam, and then you find out whether you're going to be employed or not.
Yeah, because we want to be quite strict with that initial exam, because if we're not, we don't want to waste anyone's time, and we don't want to waste our time.
True,
so what we're looking at in that initial trade test is, can this person pass the final test in 4 weeks? And if we see something in that's trainable, then we take them on from there.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, it's the only way we've found to keep that level where we need to.
Standard.
Yeah, which makes it difficult for recruiting for new salons. We're opening a few new salons, and it makes that recruitment process so much harder. But
just on a scale, I mean, how many applicants do you get coming into Trevor Sorbie?
So I'd say it's hard to say how many applicants, but I'd say out of, say, 10 trade tests, 2 will pass.
Wow.
And then those
it's like 20%.
And then those 2 people normally pass the final test, because we've been quite strict with the initial test.
Okay, my God. It's quite grueling then, isn't it?
Yeah. I wouldn't like to go back and do it again. It's not.
Listen, tell me a little bit about the art team now. Listen, what is the art team doing right now? What's the
the art team at the moment is kind of all hands on deck preparing for our Salon Live show. We're doing a show at Salon International at 4:15 on the Sunday the 14th.
Okay.
So we've got a big show, and we're doing something a little bit different.
Stage is that on?
That's in the Salon Live Theatre, underneath Salon International.
Okay.
And we're doing it a little bit differently this year. We normally use that as a kind of way to launch our art team collection for the year. But we've approached it slightly differently and created much more work for ourselves, where we're actually going to launch 5 collections this year.
Wow.
And it's almost going to be one show split into 5 mini shows.
Okay.
So we've really empowered each team member.
What do you mean by 5 shows? Is it 5 independent
Yeah,
people,
so we've looked at what we wanted to do, and we said to our art team, go away and create your own collections, create your own show. And then they brought the collections back to me, and I'm helping each of them, their 10, 15-minute slot. What lighting do you want to create? What music? What world do you want to create for the audience? And then they'll unveil their collection. Okay. So if you're
completely different?
Yeah. So there'll be 5 different shows to make up that one show.
Wow.
And then it'll be kind of, if you're
something unique.
Because I felt like before, how we've done it is, each one's come on and gone, that's my picture that I did for the collection, and it's a haircut, and that's my colour technique. So to me, if I'm sat in the audience and I'm into colour, this year I'm going to get a full colour collection. Right. And a full set of ideas. If I'm into avant-garde, I've got a full avant-garde collection to enjoy. If I'm into haircutting, I've got two full haircut collections to enjoy. So it's more, I think it's going to give the audience more for the money, really.
My God.
Yeah. But like I say, it makes
I think it's remarkable, but it brings me to what the other question. I mean, you mentioned as well, whenever you were releasing or coming up with the concept for the new collection, say for instance, you wanted to identify every single look as being differently. Now that's quite brave to do, in my opinion, because you said you just wanted to slightly change it from the traditional route, headshots and everything, but you wanted to capture every sort of unique look independently. Yeah.
Well, the way that we approach
it, I love that though. I love the idea of that, because
it all comes from wanting to probably continue Trevor's tradition of breaking new grounds. So the only rule that we have with the art team, and everyone has very different tastes and different styles, but the only rule we have is you don't bring anything to the table that we've seen before. Yeah. So when you do, so say May, who works in our Manchester salon, she's the art director for Manchester, she's very avant-garde, where I'm more, say, like haircut based. So our styles are different, but we'll both bring things to the table that we haven't seen before. So when we focus on something like that, it naturally makes the collection be a little bit different, because we're not saying, right, this is the theme for this collection. We want a collection of totally different ideas that have been pushed as far as they can possibly go. And then they're brought together by the photography style and the clothes styling and that type of thing. Because I think if we go, okay, everything needs to have frizz, or everything needs to have blonde, or everything needs to have this, we've put some barriers around where the idea can go. And I think we want to let that idea
have the freedom.
To run and go down as many blind avenues with the idea as you can until you find.
And this is shot right now?
We've got to shoot 2 more of them, which we're doing in September.
And you're happy with them so far?
Yeah, I'm really happy with them. There's 3 collections already shot. So.
I just love the way our industry is so progressive and it keeps moving forward. I guess that's what makes me excited about our industry, because it keeps evolving. I guess fashion keeps changing and evolving that way as well, so we've got to keep up the trends with haircuts. It's very important.
It's important that we don't get left behind by other aspects of the fashion and the art and the creative industries. We as an industry, hairdressing can be a little bit insular sometimes, and we can take I think we can take inspiration from too much inside the industry, and I think that leads to replication a lot of times. I think you've got to look outside. You've got
to be brave.
Look at chefs and musicians and filmmakers and clothes designers and different artists, and then let that influence your work. And then there's a chance that you come up with something more original than, looking at, say, another set of haircuts, because it's generally been done if you've seen it.
That's very, very true, very true. So listen, tell us a little bit about the haircut that you're going to be doing with us today.
So I'm going to be doing a razor cut.
Is this something from the collection?
No, it isn't anything from the collection. It's something that I've done a razor cut in the one that I just shot, but it's more, I really like working with the razor, because I like technical haircutting, but I think
it's not used enough. I don't think.
It's quite an underused tool, and I think it's a bit of fear behind it, because it's so one false move and people think you've chopped half the hair off. But I'm going to explain how it's about using this good balance between your technique that you've learned with your haircutting with scissors, but also combining that with your instinct as well, and just how the more you use it, your instinct develops, and just the right amount of pressure to use, or the right amount of weight to use on it. And so the haircut is going to be based around a lady that I saw in a shop that had cut her own hair. And she had one of the best haircuts I've ever seen. Wow. And I'm going to try and do as good as she did.
Very good indeed. Do you know, I can't wait for this anyway, because it's more than just a step-by-step. Like it says, and we're going to get to listen to Tom's career, Tom's inspiration. And I can't wait, actually, I can't wait. So for you guys that don't have a ticket, please do so now. You can buy a ticket now on Hairdressing Live, and you can watch his masterclass. So we're going to be going live at 11 o'clock. So I look forward to seeing you all then.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Thanks for coming.
No worries, my pleasure.
Thanks, now.
Cheers.
If you like what you've seen, leave a comment below and subscribe to our YouTube channel.